little girl to be able to see that too.
To see that,
yeah, I think so. I really do. So I think, that's, we're not responsible for those appointments, but we think they're fantastic, and we think it's really important to encourage people to keep aspiring to that, and for those women to keep speaking out about their journey, their choice, and how they made that journey.
Lagos, if you've got questions, I would like to hear them, to be honest with you. Call in with your questions for the UK Deputy High Commissioner, 0700 993 993 993. Your questions have to be about International Women's Day. They have to be about what the UK High Commission has planned for Nigerian women. We have a female caller line, 01465 7190. 01465 7190. Yesterday we talked at GlassCon about the role that men must play in women getting political power. But the same applies for all women's rights, really. We need men getting involved, which was why I was happy to see you at GlassCon. What types of interventions can be directed towards men to help them understand the role that they play and incentivize them to play it? Because that was the crux of, if you were listening at GlassCon yesterday, Honorable Neno Keje was talking about the chicken and the egg situation in the National Assembly that mandates women run for office, that mandates equal representation in political offices, because we don't have women in the House to vote for that legislation. Or do we do the women in the House not have enough of the power to be able to vote for that? So which one needs to happen first? The people in the House voting for it, or for us to wait to get into the House to be able to vote for it? Which has to come first? I don't think I'm quite capturing capturing how she said it, but I think I have the essence of it, right? So she was basically saying, how do we convince the men who are currently in the House to say, you know what, we want to give up our seats for women to come in and take it, right? And I remember making a quip about turkeys and Christmas.
Yeah.
So how do we do that? How do we target men? How do we incentivize them? How do we get them to understand the role they play?
Sure. No, I think. It's a really important question, and I heard her sort of describe that yesterday too. And I think it must be quite tough to be a female legislator sitting in that situation, thinking, where are my people? I guess the key thing is for everybody to think of themselves as people, rather than as a man or a woman in that situation. And I think often for legislators, looking at what will benefit their state, their community, really means look what will happen, frankly, if they empower females within their community and within their state. And that I think is a really, really important point. And we've seen that, for example, with girls' education. The economic benefit to a state, to a community, to a family is really, really important. When we've seen that within different sectors. Within agriculture, one of our programs supports 250,000 female farmers in the north of Nigeria, because they are the ones engaged in agriculture. So helping to see people as people, rather than I'm a man, I'm protecting men, I'm a woman, I'm protecting women. And I think he for she strikes me as the right approach there, saying to men what is actually going to unleash the potential of 50% of the population of this country, and therefore support my community, support the economy of my state, support the economy of my community. Really, really important. I think the second thing is, most people have families, they're part of families, and they see the potential of their family. And certainly, again, as a father, and talking to Nigerian fathers in Lagos, they see that too for their sons and for their daughters. And so actually thinking again about how some of the changes that we'd like to see can benefit their daughters, allow them to participate, allow them, frankly, to lead and make a difference in that way is huge. It does take time. No question. I don't underestimate the challenge there. But I don't think it's just for female legislators to do on their own. I think it's talking about what benefits Nigeria as a whole, the community as a whole, which is key, and we have to help them.
Does the UK High Commission have specific programs for targeting men as part of he for she?
Well, I think certainly we have, when it comes to violence against women, sensitization campaigns that help to talk about not just why this is wrong, but what the impact of this. We have support which is directed towards women who've been subject to sexual abuse and to violence, and how they can reintegrate, how we can remove the stigma associated with some of that. And definitely, our support for getting more and more female candidates to go forward engages men. Frankly, how do they engage with?
What's the room
voters?
like? During I would love to be a fly in the room for those conversations.
Sure.
What do you hear when you're engaging men and you're talking to them about why it's important for women to run?
Yeah.
What do they say?
I think it really does depend, doesn't it? I mean, I wouldn't say who, but I've been in some rooms where you think, goodness me, that's not a good thing to say, and it's an attitude that frankly doesn't belong in the modern world. But you also have to reflect on, how you can reach people like that, because those kinds of people too need to see past those attitudes and to see beyond that. Then you have conversations with very enlightened people who completely get it, but themselves feel quite overwhelmed by the obstacles that they face and that are faced by these issues. And then you have conversations with people who completely get it and see no obstacle. They just want to keep driving ahead. And I think, all three kinds of conversation are really important. I think reaching people who don't agree is the most important thing to do. It's easy to speak to people who agree with you. It's quite, it sort of makes you feel good about things.
Yeah.
But it doesn't change the world.
Yeah.
So I think reaching people who don't agree with you and understanding why not and trying to bridge that gap and showing them, frankly, as I say, the benefit in the change that we're talking about to them, I think is really, really key.
But like a lot of panelists were saying yesterday at GlassCon, women have tried that. Women continue to try that to reach the other side, to talk about the benefits, the economic benefits, the pressure off of your shoulders. The world will be a better place, if women were half the political leaders. So it doesn't seem like advocacy is working, So I'm at a loss.
I don't think I wouldn't give up. Obviously, I wouldn't give up. But B, I don't think we should look at what hasn't been achieved. Let's look at what has been achieved. Let's look at look at the two appointments I talked about, WTO, the UN itself. Let's look at business is a good example to me. In Lagos, I lived in Abuja for 3 years. I live in Lagos. I came across very many powerful and very responsible and important female leaders in Abuja. In Lagos, I'm overwhelmed by the number of senior, particularly in business and in media, female business leaders, female media leaders that I come across. And I think it shows you how that glass ceiling can be broken in different places, be like shattered in different places. It just takes time to shatter in others. And I think that's why you've got to keep trying, keep persisting. Like I say, it's not like the UK has a perfect record on this. We don't have 50% representation. We've got about 35% in the House of Commons, which I think is the highest, 36%, the highest we've had. We've had two female prime ministers and so on. But, a long, long way to go. We know that. And I think in the UK, that journey, is travelled in this way. You break some ceilings, others you punch hard up. You never quite get through yet, but you will get through. You will. Eventually.
You're listening to Hard Facts on 99.3 Nigeria Info. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. Ben Llewellyn-Jones is here. He's the UK Deputy High Commissioner, talking to me about the plans of the UK High Commission for Nigerian women. Let me take your calls. 0700-993-993-993, 01465-7190. That line is for women only, so don't call that line if you're not a woman. 01465-7190. For the men, 0700-993-993. Joel is on the line. Joel is in Oshodi. Joel, how are you? Hello, Joel.
Hello.
Thanks for
Good
calling.
evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, a quick one. I would like to ask the Deputy Commissioner a question.
Okay.
Today being a special day for women, my heart goes out to our women in war-torn Yemen. They are the most vulnerable. So I want to know why UK has decided to cut its budget for aid to that war-torn country. And we know that women in that country are most affected, along with their children, in a war-torn situation. Yet his country has cut support, much needed support to that country. So what becomes of these women? That's my question.
All right, thanks for asking. Well, Yemeni women are not Nigerian women. Is that a question you're comfortable answering?
Absolutely, yeah. No, it's a very good question. So look, we the UK provide significant multilateral assistance, donor assistance around the world. Firstly, through multilateral institutions like the United Nations, but also bilaterally. Obviously, the economic situation globally and in the UK has been hit, so the percentage of overseas development assistance we provide has reduced. And we've had to take a very tough decision to reduce that still further, just to try and align, frankly, with the economic challenges we face. But within that, and in Yemen, in Nigeria, across the world, we're prioritizing aid to reach the most vulnerable, including women. and doing what we can, what we should, to encourage others to do the same. So it is a tough time. It's a really fair question. It's a really hard question, and I recognise where it comes from. But we think we're doing not just what we should, but more than we should, frankly, more than we should. We're doing more than we might be expected to try and support Yemenis, but also support others around the world where these challenges are very acute and very real. Right question, fair question.
All right, we've got more questions for you. You mentioned that you've done work with some state governments. You also mentioned that you've worked with NGOs, other players in the private sector. How do you choose your interventions? How do you choose the right partners for those interventions?
Sure. Well, it depends really where we are. It depends where we're focused often on the most vulnerable. So we're looking geographically at states in Nigeria where we know those people to be, where we know those people to be facing those most acute challenges, where the most girls are out of school, where we're aware that violence against women is most pronounced. Then secondly, looking for partners there who can support us. And it's about delivering results in a space very clear. And it comes to the earlier question, where can deliver results? Really, really important, particularly in a significantly challenged economic situation. And then thirdly, looking at the track record of those organisations, those institutions, to see whether or not they can really deliver on the ground and how we can work with them. So, it's about those things, I think. And a big part of that is the credibility they have as well with the communities they're trying to reach. And we get that too. Given these issues, trust is so important, frankly, to addressing these kinds of questions.
I'm curious what new programs or future plans the UK High Commission has in store for Nigerian women.
Well, I think it's a new plans. I'm not sure there's anything significantly new. What we have, I think, is a suite of programs that we know to be not just effective, but to really be reaching into those parts of Nigeria which need that kind of support and engagement. So and perhaps one of the reflections about this agenda is actually persistence is what we need. It's cool to try and think about the things that are shiny and new, but actually, in many ways, it's persistence and really doing the hard yards and pushing on, frankly, with getting girls into school, making sure there's access to contraception, encouraging women to stand for political office, helping people who've been stigmatized to re-enter their community and not be stigmatized. Those things are not necessarily as exciting as some of the newer ideas that sometimes you hear about, but they're so fundamental, so important. And really, from our perspective, I think it's doing those fundamental things, those hard yards, that makes the difference. So we're with people for the long term. That's what we see.
Okay. Lagos, if you've got questions, I've got 2 more minutes and then I have to let him go. If you've got questions, 0700-993-993, or you send a WhatsApp message, 080-959-75805. I'm laughing because we got a funny message on WhatsApp.
Oh dear.
Someone says women are worse when they're in positions that they're meaner than men, and I told you it was a funny one. And then the person uses LASMA as an example. Female LASMA officers are worse than male LASMA officers.
I think, but it's interesting, isn't it? Because you sometimes hear that, you say, but actually, what does that reflect? I think that reflects perhaps a different expectation of how people should respond in office. And I think it's I always say when people say that, you should reflect on yourself actually in that situation. What are you actually expecting from that person? And really, is it someone being strong and firm and clear or being mean, right? And sometimes it's definitely the former, but we just perhaps some people don't always expect women to behave in a certain way, like a man would, being strong and firm and clear. So I definitely always question, someone says, that's women in high office are mean. I'm like, really? Is that really what's happening here? Or they're just telling you something you don't want to hear. And that's in itself.
You don't want to hear from her.
Yeah, you don't want to hear full stop, but from her you find it harder to hear. And, that's something about men reflecting on experience of their experience of talking to other people and worrying what they should be. So maybe it says more about you than it does about the person. I think that myself.
Ben, you've been a pleasure to talk to. Thank you so much for joining me on Hard Facts today. Lagos, if you're wondering, the UK High Commission was one of the partners for the first ever Glass Ceiling Convention, and I really owe a big thank you to the UK High Commission for agreeing to go with us on this journey. Let's take a break. We'll come back and play you highlights from the event. Don't go away.
Need money? Rent money. Need money? Rent money. Need money? Rent money. Visit rentmoney.com or call 0700 5500. Need money? Rent money. Need money? Rent money. Need money? Rent money. Need money? Rent money. Visit rentmoney.com or call 0700 5500. Need money? Rent money.
Do you know that you can obtain a specialist degree along with professional certification? Yes, that's the Wellspring University Edge. Wellspring University offers specialist degrees in cybersecurity, software engineering, information technology, computer science, accounting, taxation, mass communication, and business administration. For other courses, visit www.wellspringuniversity.edu.ng. Wellspring University offers postgraduate and undergraduate courses. Please call 0704 255 0535 or 0907 333 0526.
Hi there. If anyone ever asked you for your banking app password or PIN, your card PIN, or the 3 numbers on the back of your card, your pay ID, or answers to your security questions, do not give it to them. These details are private and highly confidential. They must never be shared. Stay smart. Don't lose your money to scammers. This message is from Kuda Microfinance Bank, the bank of the free. Download Kuda on the Play Store or the App Store and open an account to enjoy free banking.
To read for my exams, but I feel so sleepy.
Hey, drink Amber.
Omo, this work, I tire gone. Alaye, you no go drink Amber.
I'm not sure I can meet that deadline.
You can't, Joe. Drink Amber. This traffic na die, you.
Guy, not to drink Amber.
That's right. With 1 can of Amber energy drink, you get your daily recommended dose of nutrients, vitamins, amino acids, citric acid, and a blend of guarana, a natural caffeine to give that huge rush of energy to get you through your day. And don't forget that refreshingly premium taste that is sure to blow your mind.
Last, wala for uno de drink Amber.
Amber is proudly Niger and available in stores near you. Amber energy drink. Stimulate the energy in you.
Joma, now what you find for my late brother office?
We are here for his benefits now.
You say what? Oh yeah. Alele, vacate from this premises now.
Uncle Bina, but you know that these benefits are meant for my children.
Which children? Those girls? All my brother's benefits. Now me, go manager.
Good day, Mrs. Adams. Your husband left behind a trust with our company as his workplace ensured that all members of staff had a plan for their benefits. The trust reads that everything your husband owned, including his death in service benefits, are for you and your children.
Hey, my husband, thank you wherever you are. Hey, you try, you do well.
With willpower from UTL trustees, you can protect your spouse and children today. It is a safe and secure way to write a trust from the comfort of your home. Call 01-453-7060, 0906-000-5254 or visit www.willpower.ng to get started.
Welcome back to your number 1 talk, news, and sports station. This is Nigeria Info.
I'm Sandra Ezekwesili, and yesterday, Glass Ceiling Convention was a huge success. I know I've said that again and again, but it really, really was. I really had a great time. It was the first ever Glass Ceiling Convention. It was such a great way to cap the weekend. Attendees from all over Nigeria came, from all over the world came, and it was brilliant. One of my highlights was the keynote speech from Nse Ofot. I'm going to play that for you, and I do hope you enjoy it. If you're watching on Facebook, we're also going to try and stream that speech for you as well, so that you can watch if you are at work, or you can simply listen if you're currently in your car or at home or wherever you are and you cannot log on to watch. Nse Ofot, don't go away.
A lot of the world was enthralled by the US election last year, which spilled over into 2 Senate runoffs in Georgia this January. The results of those 2 races flipped the US Senate for the first time in a decade, and Georgia's presidential result also flipped for the first time in 40 years. And a lot of that was because of mass voter registration of women and young people in the last few years. And our keynote speaker is one of the forces behind that drive. She's the CEO of the New Georgia Project. Her political action group is a force for voter registration, voter education, and getting out the vote. And now she's here to share her insights from her Georgia experience. It is my honor to welcome to the Glasgow stage Nse Ofort, our keynote speaker. Hi, Nse.
Me here today. We're going to go Sanu, all right, Ndewo, Leo,
Okay.
Hello, what's poppin'? I'm Nse Ufot. And I'm the CEO of the New Georgia Project. We're probably best known for being a sort of large-scale voter registration organization, voter mobilization. But the way that I like to describe NGP is that we are one, problem solvers and like solution developers, but we are like a technology startup inside a civil rights and a voting rights organization. When we launched the New Georgia Project in 2014, at the time there were about 1.2 million Black, Latino, and Asian Americans in Georgia, the state of Georgia alone, who were eligible to vote and completely unregistered. And why that number matters is because when we started looking at top of the ticket races, so United States President, Governor of the state of Georgia, United States Senate. Top of the ticket is races where everyone in the state is eligible to vote. That enduring margin for about a decade was about 250,000 votes between the successful Republican and, quite frankly, the losing Democrat. And so looking just at historical numbers and historical participation, there were 5 times the number of eligible but completely unregistered, not participating Black Georgians, young people, women in our state, 5 times than any number that was necessary to swing and win any election. And so, we then began to work. I should start by saying that for us at the New Georgia Project, the goal was not necessarily just to register a whole bunch of people to vote, but being very strategic about how was it that we were going to bring about the change that we needed to see in Georgia. We think the minimum wage for salaries in Georgia is $5.15 an hour. And I know that we all, because this is a global conference, that conversion rates, I'm not going to ask you to do math today. But what I will say is that in Georgia and in several states in the Deep South, particularly Black states or states where there is a people of color majority, the minimum wage is far below the federal minimum wage. And the federal minimum wage in America itself is not enough for people to sustain themselves, to sustain a family, to build businesses, to be able to retire in old age comfortably. And so when I think about the fact that in a place like Georgia or in America, that there haven't been any new nuclear power plants built anywhere in the US in over 30 years. And there are 2 that are being built in Georgia in Black communities. When I think about the maternal mortality rate, that Black women in the US and Black women in Georgia die at extraordinarily high rates during childbirth, or that in a place like Georgia, Georgia has 159 counties. And in half of those counties, in about 79 counties, there are no OBGYNs. That there are several places in Georgia where hospitals are closing because there's a requirement that, if someone comes in and they're sick, that they have to be treated. And so hospitals are going bankrupt because our leaders in Georgia are refusing to prioritize healthcare and access to healthcare, so that, again, not only can we, work and leverage our labor in order to gain profit for our employers, but so that we can live healthy and full lives. So I should say, when we started the New Georgia Project, the idea was people are dying, people don't have access to healthcare. Let's sign people up. It was the early days of the Obama administration. They had just passed a law called the Affordable Care Act, which was designed to try to give people access to healthcare. And we were talking to poor people, farmers, people of color who had never had health insurance, who had never been to a doctor, and trying to talk to people about, how to sign up for health insurance. It just got very, very complicated, and we were not achieving the aims that we sought out to. So we switched, because part of it is, despite the fact that, there was this federal law that had been passed by the Obama administration, that the leaders in our state, in our Georgia, were completely unaccountable to the people, that they had gotten there by suppressing the votes, by shrinking the electorate. And so if you got into office without having to forcefully and strongly make the case to the people, why would you ever be accountable to the people? And that is what we saw from our local leaders, and that is what we set out to change. I think before we launched, there's never been a woman governor in Georgia, that despite the fact that Georgia is going to be the first place in the deep South in the US with a white minority. So by 2024, 2025, so in less than 5 years, white Georgians, white Americans are going to be the minority in Georgia. And while there are some people that are terrified about that future and what it means for the future of public policy in the South, in Georgia, and in the US, there are other folks that are actively organizing right now in this moment to build a better Georgia, to build our future. And I want to be clear that gender and class do not determine one's ability to lead. I think often about the 2018 governor's election here in Georgia, where my friend and the founder of the New Georgia Project, Stacey Abrams, ran for governor. And she ran for governor and by far mobilized the greatest number of young people, Black people, people of color, and women in the history of Georgia. And because of widespread, rampant voter suppression, Georgia's long and recent history of voter suppression, remember that I said in less than 5 years, white people are going to be the minority in Georgia, and that there will be a multiracial, multi-ethnic, multilingual, progressive majority, and that there are some people who are deathly afraid of that, so much so that they are willing to break the machinery of our democracy to prevent that from ever happening. And so when you see the work that the New Georgia Project did to flip the state of Georgia, to deliver the state of Georgia for Vice President Kamala Harris and President Biden, when you see 9 weeks later that Black Georgians and young Georgians came back again over Christmas, over Kwanzaa, over Hanukkah, to come out again and vote to deliver Georgia's first Black United States Senator and Georgia's first Jewish United States Senator, who's also a millennial. This happened not because people love voting, although, it's not because people are like, oh, I'm sitting in my house with my family trying to survive, but I'm such a democracy champion that I want to show up to vote. No. I wish that that were the case. It would absolutely and certainly make my job a lot easier. But the reason that people showed up, and they showed up in extraordinary numbers, is because we have been doing the work of connecting the act of voting, the act of participating in our democracy, to the change that people want to see. That the only way that you're actually going to move people to action, to move people to participating, is by talking about your shared vision for the world, speaking to people through values, right? What is it that we care about? That we live in a great nation with an extraordinary amount of resources, and there's still an extreme amount of poverty, that there's still a racial wealth gap, that race and gender and class are still the lenses by which we look at America's biggest public policy failures, our biggest governmental failures. But because we know that race and gender and class impact so much how people's daily lives, we also use those lenses to develop our solutions. And so, again, 1.2 million young people, people of color, unmarried women who were eligible at the time when we started. And now to this day, we have registered over 500,000 people to vote. And I've developed a framework, developed a strategy to get to 1 million by the end of this decade. So by 2024, 2025, when the tipping point reaches and Georgia will be majority people of color. But also focusing on, again, how do we talk about our values? How do we talk about the Georgia that we want to build, the America that we want to build for ourselves, for our families, and for our communities. And so, as I start to wind up, I'll tell you that we focus a lot on narrative, and narrative not just as storytelling, but narrative as an organizing tool. Right? How we turn our values into action, right? That we value integrity, we value honesty, we value fairness, that in a country with extraordinary amounts of resources, there should never be a child that goes to bed hungry, that in a country where we have some of the world's greatest scientists and the greatest scholars, right? I brag often about Nigeria and how we discovered DNA. Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, that gender and class should not prevent any of Nigeria's children, should not prevent any of America's children from having access to quality education, from having access to quality, affordable healthcare. Right? So those are our values, and we want to turn that into action. We want to turn that into campaigns. And so thinking about the process by which we bring in individuals and we bring in communities and we bring in nations into our world, how these people identify themselves. Who are you? What do you stand for? How we formulate our choices and how we move. And so when I think about that, I think about there's a professor from Harvard University who studies social movements. His name is Marshall Gans, and he talks about the story of self, the story of us, and the story of now. Right? So when I think about the story of self, and I demonstrated that a little bit, like, why were you called to act? Why are you motivated to get others to join you in this action? What stories can you share about your life, your journey, that allows other people to get you, to see you, to hear you, to understand sort of who you are in this moment, right? And the second is the story of us. Right. So when you're trying to bring people into your movement, you're trying to bring people into your campaign, right? That to see your vision. What are our shared values? What are our shared experiences? What are our shared aspirations for our community, for our country? And which one of these shared experiences or shared values are you going to appeal to when you are calling others to join your movement, to join your campaign? And then there's the story of now. So what are the urgent challenges that you hope to inspire others to take action on, right? So like, obviously we often have a grand plan, a big vision for our country, for our communities. But what is the issue right now? What is the pain right now? What is the opportunity right now that people can join you in so that we can, get to that our highest aspirations for ourselves and our country? What choices are you asking others to make if we are to meet this challenge successfully? And how can we act together to achieve this outcome? And how can you begin now at this moment? I am often like beating myself up, not beating myself up, but I spend a lot of time in my own head, right? Thinking about plans and scenario A, B, C through Z. And let me be clear, that is a useful exercise. I think about the 2016 elections, where the election of Donald Trump sort of shocked the world and shocked our country, and shocked a lot of activists and organizers into action to protect ourselves, to protect our families, and to protect our communities and our country and the rule of law, right? But it is absolutely important that you think about, again, the story that you want to tell when you are bringing people in, the story of yourself, the story of us, and the story of now. And stories not only teach us how to act, but they inspire people to act, right? They communicate our values through the language of the heart and the language of our emotions. And the idea is that you can move people intellectually. People can know what the right thing is to do. There's no doubt in my mind that everyone in Nigeria and everyone in the US knows that there's nothing about our gender that prevents women from being leaders. But the fact that we have not had a woman head of state is less about what we know intellectually and more about the culture and how we need to shift culture and how we need to change hearts and minds, right? That those two go together, and that is how we bring about change, by telling our personal stories of not only the challenges that we faced and the choices that we've made and what we've learned from those outcomes. We can inspire others and we can share our own wisdom. That it allows us to communicate our values, not as like abstract principles, but as our lived experience. And they have the power to move people to action, right? So when we think about the work that I do at the New Georgia Project, right, it's because, again, half of Georgia's counties don't have OBGYNs. And it's not because the money isn't there. The federal government, the United States federal government, has offered the state of Georgia billions of dollars to expand its Medicaid program, to provide health care to Georgians. But because of Republicans and our conservative leaders' values, one, they continue to turn the money down, because they want insurance companies to continue to make money, because they don't want to deliver a victory to the Democrats and to Obama. They've called it Obamacare. And so by denying Georgians Obamacare, they are willing to let us die for politics. Right. And so that is why we register people to vote. That is why we build video games that are designed to demystify campaigns and elections and how they work. That is why we build mobile apps that are designed to help us measure wait times and how long people are waiting in line to vote. That is why we sue the government on a regular basis when they are in violation of civil rights laws and voting rights laws. And that is why we put our feet in the streets when they are not listening to us, right? When they are ignoring the demands of the people, that we are fighting on all fronts. It's in the courts, It's in the court of public opinion. You can check out our Instagram. You can check out our Twitter page. You can check out our Facebook pages. Like, there is no platform that we are not using, to organize, to tell the story of ourselves and to tell the story of this moment that we are in right now. And so I'm super, super happy to be in community with you all, to have these conversations with you all, because there's one thing that I absolutely know is that we are the ones that we have been waiting for, that there's no Calvary coming to save us, that we are the ones that are going to save Nigeria. We are the ones that are going to save our country, that like there's no book, there's no blueprint, that we are creating it. We are writing it right now. And we owe it to ourselves to act on it. I know you know it. I know you know it in your heart. And so despite the fact that there's not been a woman president before, there's few women governors, that there's no example for you to follow, you know what our people need. And now is the time to act on it. So thank you.
Nseo for giving an amazing keynote speech yesterday at GlasCon 2021. You can still watch this thing online. It's on Nigeria Info FM's YouTube page. It's also on our Facebook page, Facebook Nigeria Info 99.3, YouTube Nigeria Info FM. I'm going to take one call, and that will be a wrap on the show today. Hello, thank you for calling us.
Hello, good evening, Sandra.
Good evening, thank you for calling.
Thank you. I was a part of the GlasCon yesterday.
Oh, I'm glad.
And I really enjoyed it.
I'm glad. What was your favorite
part? As a matter of fact, I even won the airtime you gave me.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Please, I would like to have such again.
Okay. Well,
we'll organize such again. I really enjoyed it.
We'll do it again next year.
International Women's Day, by the way.
Same to you. Thank you very much for calling. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
All right, bye. Well, we're going to do it every year. We're going to do it on the Sunday before International Women's Day. So look forward to being a part of it again next year. And congratulations again to that lady who just called in. Yes, we gave back recharge cards. We gave back data, really, to everybody who was a part of GlasCon yesterday, for spending that data on us. Let's listen to our sponsors on just a minute. I want to give you 10,000 naira.
With Creditville Auto Lease and flexible loan products, you're just a call away from achieving your financial goal. Simply dial 0805-510-0010. You can also send us an email via info@creditville.ng or log on to www.creditville.ng. Creditville, financing you for a good life.
All right, Lagos, let's give you a chance to win some money. Some shmoney. 5 minutes to the top of the hour. Let's see. Which one of you will be the lucky winner? The high score for the day is 2. 2 questions. So if you answer 3 questions or more, now you don't win be that though. All right, let's go. All you need to do is answer as many questions as possible in 1 minute, and that's what the game Just a Minute is about. It's brought to you courtesy Creditville. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. Hello, thank you for calling us.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What's your name?
My name is Razak Nasiru.
All right, Razak, your time has started.
This is Just a Minute.
Who makes up the Progressive Governors Forum?
The Progressive Governor, APC Governor.
That's correct. Who is the chairman of the Progressive Governors Forum?
Lukman Saliu.
That's correct. What did the Progressive Governors Forum complain about?
NLC, not standing against a food blockade.
What was the name of the keynote speaker at the Glass Ceiling Convention? When was President Muhammadu Buhari? Saturday. What was the name of the first COVID vaccination recipient in Nigeria?
Dr.
Okay. Who else was vaccinated alongside the president on Saturday?
Vice President.
That's,
Yonyo Shibajo.
that's correct. What's the name of the British Deputy High Commissioner?
Dr. Ben Llewellyn Jones.
That's correct. Congratulations. You are our winner for
Thank
today.
you.
Stay on the line. Stay on the line so we can get your details. Well done. Well done. All right, Lagos. Let's hear one more time from our sponsors on Just a Minute.
Do you need to meet up your goals for the year? Then here's the good news. Goals are easily achieved by choosing Creditsville as a reliable credit assistance. Creditsville is accessible and reliable at all times. With Creditsville, interest rates are affordable, repayment plan is flexible, disbursement is processed within 24 hours. These and many more are the reasons why you should choose Creditsville as your accessible and reliable financial partner. For more information, log on to www.creditville.ng. You can also send us an email via info@creditville.ng, and you can give us a call on 080-5510-0010. Creditsville. Loans, investment, leasing.
I'm Sandra Ezekwesili, and that's the much we can take on the show today. Like I said when I started, I'm still saying again, the podcast for the Glass Ceiling Convention may even be up as we speak at the moment. So you can listen to the amazing conversation we had yesterday with amazing women. You can also watch if you prefer to, because it was a visual conference. It was virtual, it was visual. People joined from all over the world. Thank you for making that event a success. The first event for the Glass Ceiling, the first event of the year for Nigeria Info. We're going to do many more events because Nigeria Info is 10 this year. And so we have a lot lined up to celebrate 10 years of premium conversations. Lagos, I'm Sandra Ezekwesili on Facebook, S. Ezekwesili on Twitter, S. Ezekwesili on Instagram. Those were your hard facts. Have yourself a great evening.
Hard Facts with Sandra Ezekwesili is available as a podcast on all streaming platforms. Catch this and previous episodes anytime you want to.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Entertaining and informing Nigeria 24/7.
Nigeria Center for Disease Control on Thursday reported 790 new cases.
We're going to talk about the new independent political movement that launched yesterday and says it wants